Do you ever have those days where you just absolutely detest the modern world with the constant noise, the pollution, the notifications on your phone? Yeah, I know how you feel. So I decided it was time that we all go back to a more calm time, a simpler time, a time of the Spartan warriors. And that's what we're going to do in this episode. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking you to 400 years BC, to the time of the Spartans. Now I don't know about you, but the first time I saw a Spartan 300 I was absolutely mesmerized, and it's not because of the homoerotic element or the chance to wear a small red skirt. No, it's about the values the Spartan people espoused. Things like discipline, integrity, valor, and bravery. So today we're going to be looking at how they trained, how they ate, the rituals they endorsed, to see if there's anything that we can bring into modern day life to learn from. So join us, let's go.
This is where we fight! This is where they die!
The first challenge we're going to be doing today is to replicate the heavy shields that the Spartan warriors would carry around with them into battle. So this weighted vest is around 10 kilos or 22 pounds, and we think that is approximately what the aspis or shield that the Spartan warriors used to use. So let's see what it's like to run in this thing. How far shall I go? Let's just start running. Ooh. Heavy. Heavy. Let's see what 3K feels like. It's pretty hot in Dubai right now, which I think would replicate the harsh climate these guys used to go to war in. Carrying, of course, the sword and the shield would lead to a grueling session. A little fun fact that when boys in Sparta were born, they were not allowed to wear shoes, and the idea was that their feet would harden whether they were on sand or in snow, and of course it would make them tougher. I can tell you, running in this heat with this extra load is pretty horrible. I think I'm gonna lose the sandals. They're actually more hassle than they're worth. It's starting to burn. I'm actually covering some good ground. I'm gonna try and get 3K. I gotta say, the extra 10 kilos or 22 pounds for my American audience makes it a lot harder. Woo! To think you would run and then actually have to get into a battle. Oh, it's just beyond me. We're so soft these days, guys. We're so soft. 3K with the in the sand, the heat, and the weighted vest is taking me a lot longer than it usually would on the flat with some nice trainers on. The feet are kind of burning, but feeling good. I actually forgot to set my timer, but I think probably about 20 minutes. So I'm not going to be winning any medals of honor for that kind of performance, but it's so good to get out in the fresh air, you know. Just the thought of having to go straight into battle now is just very bewildering and daunting, but I enjoyed it. It's nice to be outside. The running in the sand also makes a big difference, and being barefoot. Right, on to the next challenge. We're going to be showing you some of the elements of the body weight workout that Mark Twight used for the Spartan 300 prep.
It was blood, sweat and tears. I trained over the course for 7 months. Almost 3.5, 4 months before the film started, I was here training with my own trainer. Then when the film trainer arrived, I started training with him and my own trainer. At some points, I was training 4 hours a day in the gym. I had 2 trainers, 2 separate trainers. I don't know what I was thinking.
Madman. You're a madman.
I kept training on set all the time, pumping, because to me, that was the king. Go, go.
Because when we look at what Spartans did to train, we're not 100% sure, of course. We're talking over 2,000 years ago. We know they probably did body weight exercises. We know they had the concept of some basic resistance training, probably using rocks and atlas stones, things like this. They love wrestling, sword fighting, and generally staying active. So let's go and see what we can replicate with our body weight workout. So one thing that the Spartans did was make time for rituals where they would just calm themselves, breathe and be silent. So post-workout, we're just gonna go and take some time to meditate by the sea. We're just out to get some stuff for our Spartan dinner. Now, one thing I know Spartans didn't have access to is a supermarket, but that said it had dates in it, and they did like dates. They also had access to fruit, grapes, figs, things like that. Now, I've already got some figs at home. I don't need to buy those. Let's see what else we've got. That is Spartan. Just the name conjures up Spartan. Spartan things. Whole foods, fruits. I don't think they quite had bananas yet in ancient Greece. But they did have things like pomegranates, grapefruits, I think. Definitely pomegranates. Let's see what else they got. Vegetable broth. Saves cooking our own. I'm sure the old Spartan warrior would eat a bit of this. I don't think Spartan warriors spent a lot of time, but they did have prunes and dates. So we're going to get some organic dates. It's probably cheaper in Spartan times. Nice. I deserve some sardines and tomato. I'm sure that was standard fare if you were a Spartan soldier. Definitely not sauerkraut. We've got lentils already. Almonds, yes my friend, would have been and walnuts would have been something they'll eat. Now, according to my research, they did have bread, but it was mostly a kind of barley bread. Don't know if they're going to have barley bread here, but let's have a look. Oats bread, gluten-free. I don't think that was high on their agenda. We're going to make some poetic license and assume that's a barley bread. Another thing the Spartans would eat would be eggs, so we've already got some of those at home. But I do want to get some goat's cheese because that was something that they would eat according to my research. So let's have a look. There's some feta, of course. Organic feta, sheep's, goat's cheese. Here you go. Some nice overpriced organic goat's cheese. It's going to be delicious. Getting the boiled eggs ready for the banquet. So ignoring the chicken skewers and the Cocoa Pops, we've got ourselves a banquet to enjoy at home, but we do actually have Spartan foods. Don't worry, it's going to be authentic. So we're just going to head home now and prepare a lunch/dinner. We're back at the ranch now. We're going to make a typical Spartan banquet. Now the first thing you'll notice is there's not meat and fish. Spartans would only have that on special occasions. Today we're just trying to represent what they would normally eat. First thing you'll see is a lot of whole foods. The only thing that's vaguely processed, as we would say, is barley style bread, but the rest of it is whole foods, and this would have really helped them stay lean and healthy. We're going to start putting this together and talk about some of the amazing benefits of these different styles of foods. Now this thing, melazomas, is a famous black soup. Wait till the end to hear how we've made it. It's basically animal blood, vinegar, and salt. Interesting. Anyway, let's talk about some of the benefits with the foods and why they ate them. We've got, of course, some boiled eggs because our warriors need protein. And these are absolutely delicious way to get some good quality proteins in your food. We've got stuff like an apple, simple fruits, can be delicious. Raisins are quite common in the ancient Greek Spartan diet. Really nice as well to add this into your diet for a bit of extra fiber, help you go to the bathroom. That's one thing I see working with Western clients is if they're like a general population client or gen pop client, as we call it in the trade, often they're eating a lot of processed foods. They don't have enough fiber in their diet. So having things like this is going to be absolutely delicious. Figs, we got some whole almonds. You can see, even though it was a sparse diet, it was very healthy in terms of the different produce. One thing they would have eaten was legumes and things like lentils. So we can do that with a kind of vegetable stock. It's going to be really good. For additional protein, again, we've got some dairy. That was something that they had. It wasn't something they ate all the time, but they needed their protein to fuel and recover from their workouts. Now, I just want to contrast this style of diet with what Mark Twight actually got them, the actors and the cast to do for Spartan 300. So he kept them on more of a modern style diet, whereby he gave them the usual things that we would expect to see in an athletic diet, you know, more meat, more fish, more eggs, carbs, and the usual things like this. But he actually kept the cast on around 1,800 calories a day, which is well below the recommended daily amount for grown men, particularly as he was putting them through those intense workouts as we saw. Now, what that meant is in the couple of months that he had to work with them, they got super shredded, and that was the look that he wanted for the Spartan 300 film.
No amount of hard work that you do in the gym can balance out bad dietary decisions. No amount of hard work that you do can counteract the fact that you don't get enough sleep. All of these things work in conjunction with one another, and you spend more time eating than you do training. So you ought to spend a lot more time thinking about dietary behavior than how much exercise you get in the gym. And you spend a lot more time sleeping than you do eating. So you might want to pay attention to the restorative value of sleep before you start focusing on little tweaks in your diet. There's an enormous difference between myself and my dietary sort of rules that I follow and the person who's one of the top 5% of performers in the world, whether that's athletically or someone on screen trying to achieve a physical aesthetic. If it's complicated, you're probably not going to do it. I like the rules to be really simple, because if they're simple and easy to follow, then we'll actually do them. I think one of the most important dietary concepts is to eat for an objective, to eat for a reason. I need to lose 10 pounds because I want to do 25 consecutive pull-ups. That's my objective. I'm going to go at that via diet as opposed to via training. 10 pounds overweight, that's where I am now. I want to lose 10 pounds, that's my objective. Lay off the unconscious eating. Schedule my meals, perhaps. Maybe I need to start counting calories so that I know that an egg has 70. I know that an avocado has 350. A medium-sized banana has 70. If I know these things and it becomes automatic in my head eventually, I gotta learn. It's like going to school. For 3 months or 6 months, I have to pay attention, but then I own it, it's automatic, and I can change my behavior. A few of the most important things when it comes to diet are rules that I can give to people that are easy to follow is the closer to nature, the better. If it wasn't food 100 years ago, it's not food today. So if some guy invented it in a lab, don't eat it. Pretty simple. The more packaging it has, the further away from nature it is, probably. 10 hours of sleep a night, over 4 liters of water a day. Do workouts in the gym that are actually recovery workouts, which might be 30 minutes of walking on a treadmill. It might be 30 minutes of being on a rowing machine or going for a swim, as opposed to the days when you work truly hard. Most people don't go hard enough on their hard days, and they go too hard on the days that are supposed to be easy.
This meal's looking absolutely delicious already. We've got oats. We don't need to show you eating oats. That's pretty standard. But of course, the Spartan diet was about simplicity, basic things. One thing I'm just going to add on there is some honey, just to give it a little bit of flavor. This is actually an organic honey from Thailand, not from Greece, but it's the same kind of thing. And this is going to be a beautiful, simple meal that we're going to go and savor in silence, just like a Spartan would have done back in ancient Greece. So guys, honestly, CrossFit and HIIT style workouts have their place, but the truth is, there is no way Gerard Butler got that much lean muscle mass just by doing CrossFit and HIIT. First of all, he almost certainly took some exogenous testosterone, because if you look at his before pics, look at his after pics, and how he walks around generally, you can tell that he wouldn't just get in that shape from sorting his diet out and doing some cardio. So anyway, sorry to burst your bubble on that. Let me know in the comments if you don't agree. Now, the other point I want to make is CrossFit has many benefits. It's going to be great for improving your power, your endurance, your mental fortitude. It's a great community workout. So there's so many benefits to it. HIIT's going to be good for your cardiovascular. It's going to be good for burning off some calories. But if you want to build lean muscle mass, do what people do to specialize in that, and that's bodybuilding. So you want to do hypertrophy style workouts, mix that in with your CrossFit, mix that in with your HIIT. You're going to be in phenomenal shape. Oh, and if you want to look like Gerard Butler, probably have to do that. But that's up to your decision. I'm going to get back to my bodybuilding workout. By the way, I was lifting heavier than this before I started filming. That's easy. So that's a wrap. It's been a couple of days since we filmed the training and eating like a Spartan warrior. And I just wanted to reflect on some of the findings from it. First of all, just taking some time out to eat in silence made everything so much more mindful. I tried it with my second meal as well, stretched it out over 20 minutes, no phone, no distraction. And it was just such a simple thing that made me realize, like, I probably never eat without distraction. Like I'm always listening to a podcast, watching TV, doing some work, checking my messages. So that was a nice thing. The other thing as well was the simplicity of just eating a plate of whole foods. Bread, okay, was a little bit processed. We had some barley bread, but everything else is simple whole foods. Trust me, guys, if you make 80% of your meals like this, you're going to be in phenomenal shape. And finally, the truth is, although we can't replicate what a Spartan warrior did during the day, let's be honest, we cannot do that in the modern world. It just made me realize like how soft we're getting, and myself. So I've decided after this, I'm going to have to step up my training, step up my mindset, and I hope you can too. Anyway, make sure you hit like and subscribe, because in the next episode, we're going to be pushing the boundaries even more.